Hey guys, YouTube Worm here. Okay, and like I've been saying, with the SummerSlam being this Saturday, I said how I would make like a one or two retro SummerSlam reviews in honor of SummerSlam. So here I am to make a retro SummerSlam review, and and for this review, this is going to be a review for SummerSlam 1990. So this was only the third SummerSlam in history. Yeah, and people really seem like very mixed about this show. Like I've just seen like some very contrasting reviews for this show. Like there are some people that say that it's good, and other people say that it is really not that good. So I really just seen like a very contrasting reviews for it. Like people really just seem to be like feeling either one way or the other about the show, and I can really like understand both ways because this show really just seems to be like a very mixed bag. Like it really is just like all over the place with the show. Like there is like good stuff on the show. There's also like stuff that's kind of like okay on the show. There's stuff that really is pretty just like a forgettable on the show, and stuff that really is just like just absolutely awful about the show. So it really just seems to really be all over the place with the show. So me personally, how I feel about it, I am really not too sure really like what to say about it. I don't know whether or not to call it a good show or a bad show because quite honestly, it really is just like a very mixed bag because it really is just like I said, it's all over the place with this show. Like it really is just a very mixed bag of good, bad, okay, mediocre, forgettable. So yeah, it really is just like all over the place with the show. So this really just seems to be like kind of like a middle of the road pay per view because yeah, it really just has like it's mixed with everything on here. So I find it really hard to really like call it good or bad because yeah, it's just like mixed all over the place with the show. So it does kind of like have some matches that are pretty disappointing, and yeah, and a lot of the matches on the show are pretty short. Like you have four, like just about like half of the matches on the show at least, maybe even more. I think like I think it's like seven matches on the show only last like up to 6 minutes. So a lot of the matches on the show are really short, and yeah, and it's so there's like 10 matches on the show. So I really didn't think that like this show really did need 10 matches when like most of them really were pretty short matches. So so I really feel that like some of the matches on the show really could have been cut, especially for how short they were, and they really could have just like been replaced by like some bigger matches, and like the bigger matches that were actually on the show could have gotten more time because yeah, the matches on the show were like pretty like short for the most part. Like there's only like one match that lasts almost like 15 minutes. Well, I guess like two matches actually, 15 minutes. Yeah, and there's only the main event on the show was only like 10 minutes long. So I feel that like the matches on the show, like the big matches, like really were like pretty short or in place of like these some useless matches that really could have been cut from the show. And yeah, and also like with this show being in 1990, like this was like kind of at the time when the WWF really didn't really seem like to really know exactly what to do with like their stars at this time because yeah, of course, like this being in 1990, of course, like at WrestleMania that year, Ultimate Warrior won the WWF title from Hulk Hogan. So it seemed like at this point, like the WWF was really like going to try to really like give the like try to like make new main event stars at this point, and yeah, and it really did kind of like seem like that was really going to be the case with this show, but yeah, it really didn't really seem to really like work out. So it really just seemed like the WWF was really like trying to do whatever they were trying to do what they could, but it really just wasn't working. So, and I think that really does show because it really just seemed like they didn't really know exactly what to really do at this time. So, so I guess like that is probably like one of the reasons why like this show really is just like filled with like some matches that really like didn't really like ha- serve much purpose to be on the show. So yeah, so it kind of like seemed to be like when the company was kind of like in a little bit of a bind at this point. Yeah, and I guess that probably is the reason why like this show really seemed to be all over the place. So yeah, so I'm not really sure like exactly what to say like in terms of recommending the show, because yeah, it really just is, like I said, it's all over the place. Like there's like good stuff, bad stuff, okay stuff, mediocre stuff, forgettable stuff. Yeah, it really is just all over the place. So yeah, so I really don't exactly even know what to say in terms of recommending this, because it's just like such a middle of the road kind of show. Yeah, so yeah, and that really is like how it comes off. All right, so yeah, so I just really don't know what else to really say about the show. So yeah, so I guess I'll just like talk about the matches. All right. So yeah, so the first match of the show, the first match was Power and Glory, Paul Roma and Hercules versus the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Yeah, yeah. And this match really was like contested more as like a handicap match, because I think at this time Shawn Michaels was actually hurt, so they like did a thing to like get him out of actually competing in this match, where like a Shawn Michaels got laid out on the outside of the ring, and so yeah, so Marty Jannetty really was just like working this match on his own with Shawn Michaels on the outside of the ring, and then when like Shawn Michaels like tried to get like back up and like under the ropes, like he got like knocked off. So yeah, and this match was like this match was okay, like yeah, it really was, like I said, it really was just like Marty Jannetty fighting against Power and Glory here. And yeah, this was just like kind of okay. Not really anything too memorable about it. It was like Marty Jannetty trying to fight off both of Power and Glory. Yeah, and of course, Power and Glory were like using a lot of double team moves on Marty Jannetty, and it just really was like just like did go like back and forth, and it lasted for like 6 minutes. Yeah, and then eventually, like as Slick ended up distracting the referee. Eventually, he, Power and Glory hit a powerplex X to Marty Jannetty, which was like a superplex from Hercules, and then a diving splash from Paul Roma. Then yeah, and then they were able to pin Marty Jannetty. So yeah, so Power and Glory got the win. So yeah, so yeah, this really was like okay. Like it wasn't definitely was not the worst thing on the show, but yeah, it really was just like a very average and not really anything memorable about it. So yeah, I would give that match probably like a 2.5 stars. Yeah. Then next up, then we had the Intercontinental Championship on the line. It was Mr. Perfect defending against the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich. Yeah. And this match was honestly pretty disappointing. I mean, this match only lasted like 5 minutes. Like, this is your Intercontinental Championship match at SummerSlam, and it only goes 5 minutes. So yeah, so this was a pretty disappointing match. Like, yeah, it really just like did like kind of just go back and forth between Mr. Perfect and Kerry Von Erich. Not really anything too memorable happened once again, and yeah, and like I said, this really was like a probably one of the most disappointing matches of the night, or if not the most disappointing match of the night, because I mean, when you would have figured like a match like this, like a Mr. Perfect and Kerry Von Erich, you really would have figured that this really could have like actually been like a really good to great match. Like if this, like they would have given this match like 15 minutes, but it only lasted 5 minutes. So yeah, so I really don't know like why they did this. Like this is like what I was talking about. Like how like they had 10 matches on the show and a bunch of useless matches that just like took away time from like bigger matches such as this one. So yeah, so I really don't know like what the deal was. Yeah. And like I said, not really anything too memorable happened. It really was just like a back and forth between the two guys for like 5 minutes. Then yeah, then eventually Mr. Perfect then hit a neck breaker and sleeper hold on a Kerry Von Erich. Yeah, and then as Mr. Perfect was like gaining the upper hand on Kerry Von Erich, eventually Kerry Von Erich then hit a claw hold on Mr. Perfect, and then hit his disgust punch on Mr. Perfect, and then pinned him. So yeah, so it just seemed to like end very abruptly. Yeah. So yeah, so Kerry Von Erich ended up winning the Intercontinental title. So yeah, so I guess like this was like a nice moment for Kerry Von Erich. Like him coming to the WWF, he did at least get like a championship win while he was in the company. So yeah, but yeah, this is like a pretty disappointing match. Like I said, it only went on for like 5 minutes, and you really would have expected it to go much longer and it actually be a really good to great match. But yeah, being only 5 minutes and not really anything memorable happened, it was a pretty disappointing match. So yeah, so I would give that match probably like 2 stars. Yeah. Then next up, then the next match that was supposed to happen, it was supposed to be Sensational Queen Sherry versus Sapphire. Yeah, and as you had Sherry in the ring, and it looked like all the paint that she had on her face, it looked like she was going to be in a performance for Cats. Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly what was up with her face paint that night. Yeah, but yeah, as Sherry was in the ring, like a Sapphire did not actually come down to the ring. So yeah, so with a Sapphire like not showing up, um, like it was this match like was just basically declared a forfeit, and Sherry was declared the winner. Yeah, this would like be an angle that would like come into play later on in the night. Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, with this just being a since this match didn't actually happen, like I'm not really going to give anything to it at all. I really don't even consider this really to be like a match for the show since it didn't actually happen. Yeah, but yeah, this was like an angle that would like come into play later on in the night, as I said, which I'll get to later. All right. Anyway, moving on. Then the next match was then it was it was the Warlord versus Tito Santana, and this really was just like there, like yeah, this really was just kind of like just seemed to be like a bonus match for the show. Like it really just came and went. Nothing memorable happened at all. I don't remember anything from this match. Like it just was like the two guys fighting, and then eventually the Warlord then got the win after he hit a running power slam on Tito Santana and pinned him. So yeah, so the Warlord ended up getting the win. So yeah, so don't remember like anything about that match. It was very forgettable, and another match that really just really didn't have any purpose to be on the show. So yeah, so I would give that match like I don't know. I guess I would give that like 2 stars as well, if that. All right. All right. And then next up, then we get like the true highlight of the show. Up next, then we had the tag team titles on the line with Demolition defending against the Hart Foundation in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And yeah, this was just an awesome match right here. This was just like a really good to great match. Yeah, this was at the time when Demolition had added Crush to the team. So yeah, so there were 3 members of Demolition at this time. Yeah, but yeah, it was Smash and Crush actually competing in this match. Yeah. And yeah, and like I said, this really was just like a really awesome match right here. Like, yeah, it really was just like some really awesome back and forth action between both teams throughout the match. Like, yeah, it was like it went back and forth, and then yeah, then as they were just like going at it with each other in some really nice fast paced action, going back and forth. Yeah, eventually, Demolition and ended up getting the win. Well, getting the first fall after like they hit the Demolition decapitation on Bret Hart and were able to pin him. So yeah, so Demolition ended up getting the first fall win in this match. Yeah, and then yeah, then as it like continued into the second fall, as they were like continuing to wear down Bret Hart in the match. Eventually, Jim Neidhart ended up getting tagged in, and then yeah, then as the Hart Foundation then were starting to gain the upper hand on Demolition. Then, as they were fighting, Smash Off, as they then like double teamed Smash by hitting him with the heart attack, as they were going for the pin, Crush ended up like just preventing the ref. it was preventing the referee from actually making the count. So then, yeah, so as a result of actually a Crush putting his hands on the referee, that ended up being a disqualification. So yeah, so the Hart Foundation ended up uh, getting the second fall due to the disqualification. Yeah, and then the third fall as Demolition was distracting the referee. Then Axe ended up running out and hit under the ring. Yeah, and yeah, then as a Demolition and the Hart Foundation were continuing to fight with each other. At one point, as the referee was distracted, Axe then swapped with Smash Ash in the match. Yeah, and how the referee didn't couldn't tell it was not a Smash and it was Axe. Axe actually competing in the match. I don't know. They were trying to pass it off as it was hard to tell which one was which, but it really wasn't. It was easy to tell it was Axe and not Smash in there. So how the referee didn't know it was Axe is beyond me. But yeah, Axe was trying to help Demolition win, but then yeah, then eventually Smash ended up getting back in the ring, taking place. Yeah, then yeah, then as um and we're continuing to fight. Eventually, the Legion of Doom then ended up coming out, and then yeah, then as Demolition ended up being distracted, then uh Heart Foundation eventually then ended up taking down Crush, and then we're able to roll him up with the Axis Smash distracted, and so then yeah, then they were able to pin him. So yeah, so the Hart Foundation won the match, and yeah, they won the tag team titles. Yeah, but yeah, this really was just such a good match right here. I mean, yeah, this was definitely the best match of the night. It was just a really good to great match. Had some really great back and forth tag team action, some nice double team moves from both teams, and yeah, and they just really did work very well together. So yeah, and plus the Hart Foundation winning the tag team titles was also awesome moment as well. So yeah, so just a really good to great match right here, and yeah, definitely the best match of the show. I would probably give this match, I guess I'll give it 4 stars. Yeah, just a really good to great match. If you really do have to watch something from this SummerSlam, if you really are looking for something to watch, then I would probably say check this match out. Yeah, just a really good to great match right there. So yeah. All right. Then next up, then you had Bad News Brown versus Jake the Snake Roberts, and you had the Big Boss Man as the special guest referee for the match. Yeah, and this was not good. I mean, this was really forgettable. Also, just it was just the two of them really just fighting back and forth for 4 minutes or so. Then as they were fighting, it spilled to the outside of the ring. And then eventually, Bad News Brown ended up hitting Jake the Snake Roberts with a steel chair, and Bad News Brown ended up getting disqualified. Yeah. So that really was just a very a useless match on here, just Warlord and Tito Santana. I really don't see why they even had this be on the show. So yeah, just a very useless match. So I would give that probably I'll I'll give that half a star. It just was it really was not good at all. Just yeah, and very useless to be on the show. All right. Then after this, then you had a segment with the Brother Love show. You have Brother Love coming out for the Brother Love show, and Sergeant Slaughter was the guest, and yeah, and this was really I guess kind of the start of a Sergeant Slaughter's heel run with him starting to become the Iraqi sympathizer, and so yeah, so it was just a Sergeant Slaughter just talking about like how the United States had become soft and weak, and yeah, he presented Brother Love with the Greatest American Award and declared war on Nikolai Volkoff. So this was what it was. All right. Anyway, then the next match, then you had the Orient Express versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Nikolai Volkoff. Saying yeah, and this was during Nikolai Volkoff's face run where he became an American supporter. So yeah, that really just did not go over very well. not well received at all. Yeah, this just really didn't work out at all. And this really was not a good match. This match only lasted like 3 minutes. It was just like the two teams fighting. It was like pretty sloppy in ring action, and then as Mr. Fuji then tried to hit Nikolai Volkoff with his cane. Then a big splash was missed by Tanaka, and uh, then both Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Nikolai Volkoff ended up hitting just several clotheslines on the Orient Express. Yeah, then eventually there was Hacksaw Jim Duggan ended up clotheslining Tanaka from a 3-point stance and then was able to pin him. So Nikolai Volkoff and Hacksaw Jim Duggan ended up winning. So this match this sucked, and the Nikolai Volkoff face run just, oh man, that was just awkward, and this match it was awful. It was just so sloppy, and once again, did not really serve any point of being on the show, especially since it was just so freaking short. So that match, that gets a dud. All right. Okay. Then next up, then we had the Macho King Randy Savage versus Dusty Rhodes. And this match was like part of the whole angle with the whole Sapphire stuff I was talking about a little bit ago. Because this was still like during the time there was the whole story with Macho King and Queen Sherry against Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire, such as like the match they had that year at WrestleMania. So it was still going on at this point. And Sapphire, like I said, she didn't show up for the Sherry match, but everybody knew she was there for the show, so they didn't exactly know what was going on. Then as a Dusty Rhodes came out, you had Ted DiBiase and Virgil out there, and then Ted DiBiase revealed that he actually was able to get he paid off Sapphire. So Sapphire just sold out to Ted DiBiase and turned on Dusty Rhodes. So this really just kind of kickstarted the whole rivalry between Ted DiBiase and Dusty Rhodes that carry on throughout the rest of the year and went into the Royal Rumble the following year. So it really just was something to really kickstart that rivalry. And the match with Ted DiBiase, with Dusty Rhodes and Savage, it really wasn't anything. The match only lasted 2 minutes, but it was really more about the angle with Sapphire turning on Dusty Rhodes more than this match. So not really anything did happen here. Dusty Rhodes tried to go after Ted DiBiase, but then Savage attacked him from behind, and then it just went on for about 2 minutes, and then it was then eventually Randy Savage ended up winning after he nailed Dusty Rhodes with Sherry's purse and pinned him. So Savage ended up getting the win. But the Sapphire Sherry match, this really was more angle than anything else, and it was really more set around Sapphire turning on Dusty Rhodes rather than this actual match. So I'm not really going to be rating this either, because to me it doesn't really make sense to rate this, because it's really more about the angle of Sapphire joining with Ted DiBiase rather than the actual match between Savage and Rhodes. So I won't be rating this either. All right. And then next up, then we had Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake. So this was a Hulk Hogan's return. A few months earlier, Hulk Hogan was like taken out by Earthquake. Yeah, in reality, it was really just a way to write Hulk Hogan off of WWF TV for a little while because Hulk Hogan did have some stuff going on during that time. It was like around this time that Nick was born. So yes, and I think also during this time Hulk Hogan also went to film Suburban Commando. So yeah, so Hulk Hogan was just like written off of WWF TV for a few months to do this, do it, yeah, attend to this stuff. Yeah, but yeah, this was Hulk Hogan's return from being taken out by Earthquake. Yeah, and I actually did think that this was a pretty enjoyable match right here. It really was just kind of the typical Hulk Hogan big man match where like uh, like he's going up against a big guy who seems to really be more powerful than him, and Hulk Hogan can't take him down. Yeah, and then then it's eventually a Hulk Hogan then gaining the upper hand and then is able to take the big guy out. Yeah, and that really was the formula for this match. It started off, of course, with Earthquake easily overpowering Hulk Hogan. Yeah, and in this match you had Dino Bravo and Jimmy Hart in Earthquake's corner, and you had Big Boss Man in Hulk Hogan's corner to back him up. Yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, you had Dino Bravo trying to get involved throughout the match, but Big Boss Man would stop Dino Bravo from actually getting involved in the match. Yeah, there were points in the match where Hulk Hogan tried to scoop slam Earthquake, but just couldn't do it because Earthquake was so big. Yeah, yeah, and then you just had like I said, Earthquake overpowering Hulk Hogan early on. Yeah, then Hulk Hogan then started to come back. Heck yeah. And yeah, then at one point, as Dino Bravo was double teaming Hulk Hogan with Earthquake, then Earthquake then then the Big Boss Man got involved, and there was this one point where Hulk Hogan and Big Boss Man took out both Dino Bravo and Earthquake. Double teaming them, yeah. Then Earthquake at one point then he got a Boston Crab on Hulk Hogan, but yeah, Hulk Hogan was able to break out of it, yeah. Then as Hulk Hogan then at one point ended up getting a power slammed out of the ring by Earthquake. Yeah, and it showed then at one point how Earthquake was whenever Hulk Hogan was trying to actually get knock Earthquake off his feet. It showed that he couldn't do it. Hulk Hogan would be charging into Earthquake, but it didn't phase Earthquake, didn't knock him down. It just caused Earthquake to just take a couple steps back, but it didn't knock him down. Then Hulk Hogan then was eventually able to knock Earthquake down. Yeah. Then it just kind of did go back and forth between Hulk Hogan and Earthquake, and then eventually at one point has um, Earthquake I think had Hulk Hogan in a bear hug. Then it seemed that Hulk Hogan was going out from that, but then as Earl Hebner got close to Hulk Hogan, Earl Hebner, the referee for the match, yeah, as Earl Hebner got close to Hulk Hogan to ask him if he was okay, then Hulk Hogan then just all of a sudden grabbed Earl Hebner and partially ripped part of his shirt off, which I'm not really sure what that was about. Yeah. But yeah, then eventually Hulk Hogan was able to break out of the bear hug. Yeah, then Hulk Hogan then was starting to gain some momentum on Earthquake. Tried to knock him off his feet once again, but yeah, like I said, as he charged into Earthquake, it only made him take a couple steps back. Yeah. Then at one point, as Hulk Hogan tried to scoop slam on Earthquake again, he couldn't do it, and he just fell back. But Hulk Hogan was able to kick out of a pin attempt from Earthquake. Yeah, and then Earthquake then at one point then hit a couple of his Earthquake splashes on Hulk Hogan. Yeah, but then as he covered Hulk Hogan then ended up hulking up. Then Hulk Hogan then eventually did a scoop slam Earthquake. Then as Hulk Hogan then hit the leg drop on Earthquake, before Hulk Hogan could actually get the pin, Jimmy Hart ended up distracting the referee. Then Hulk Hogan then attacked Jimmy Hart. He threw a Jimmy Hart into Earthquake, knocking him down. Yeah, then as Hulk Hogan then went after Dino Bravo, it then spilled to the outside of the ring with Earthquake tried to hold Hulk Hogan for Jimmy Hart to nail Hulk Hogan with his megaphone, but Hulk Hogan moved out of the way, and Earthquake ended up getting hit with the megaphone. Yeah, then as the Big Boss Man then fought off Dino Bravo and Jimmy Hart, then a Hulk Hogan then slammed Earthquake through a table. Well, not through a table, but onto a table on the outside of the ring. Then Hulk Hogan was able to get back in the ring, and so then Earthquake ended up being counted out. So Hulk Hogan won the match by count now. So I'm sure that there are some people that are don't like the count out finish for the match, but at the same time, it actually did kind of make sense to really keep Earthquake looking strong, not actually taking a clean pinfall loss to Hulk Hogan. Plus, yeah, it's not it was just something that we see a lot where heels just leave the ring and intentionally get themselves counted out. It wasn't like that. It was just actually Hulk Hogan got back into the ring, but Earthquake didn't in time. So yeah, so it was a good count out win. Yeah. Then afterwards, Earthquake and Dino Bravo tried to attack Hulk Hogan again, but then the Big Boss Man then came back in, and then as a Hulk Hogan Earthquake had a Hulk Hogan up by the throat, the Big Boss Man made the save and hit Earthquake in the back a few times with a step ladder. Then afterwards, then as they got knocked out of the ring, then Earthquake, Dino Bravo, and Jimmy Hart left with Hulk Hogan and Big Boss Man celebrating in the ring. So I actually did find this to be a pretty enjoyable match. I did think that it was a pretty entertaining big Hulk Hogan versus Big Guy match, and and Hulk Hogan was really able to work really well with big guys. Had a really good match with King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 2. He's had good matches with Andre, and and this match was also pretty enjoyable too. So I did this. Sorry, getting a little tongue-tied here. Yeah. So overall, I did enjoy this match. So I guess I would probably give this match probably I'll give this 3.25. Yeah. And then we got the main event. The WWF Championship on the line in a steel cage match. The Ultimate Warrior defending against Ravishing Rick Rude. So, so why exactly was Rick Rude challenging for the WWF title at SummerSlam? I really don't know. I guess this was just a situation where just because Hulk Hogan was and had a match, and the other big guys on the show had a match as well, they really just didn't really know who to have Ultimate Warrior defend the title against at this show. So I guess they just went with Rick Rude. I guess seeing how the great match they had at the previous year SummerSlam, they decided to just have it again here. But this match really was just not that great. I mean, it just seemed to be a very lopsided match. It was one thing when the guys were competing over the Intercontinental Championship, but with the WWF Championship, did anybody really believe that Rick Rude was actually going to win here? So it just seemed to be a very lopsided match. Yeah, and like I said, the match really just was not that great. I mean, it wasn't absolutely terrible, and it was better than the match that they had at WrestleMania 5, but it definitely did not compare to the match they had at SummerSlam the previous year. Yeah, this match really just, it wasn't really anything that memorable, to be honest. It was just really them, just throwing each other into the cage, and and it showed how Rick Rude ended up getting busted open early on in the match. And then Rick Rude then was able to um make a comeback. At one point, Rick Rude hit a neck breaker on Ultimate Warrior, and then Rick Rude then tried to escape through the door a couple times, but Ultimate Warrior was able to stop him from leaving. Then it just kind of did just like go back and forth with like the guys like throwing each other into the cage, hitting moves on each other. Like at one point, like Rick Rude actually like went to the top of the cage and like dropped the fists on Ultimate Warrior a couple of times. And yeah, but on the second time, Ultimate Warrior was able to like avoid it and then take out Rick Rude. Yeah, then there was like this one point where Ultimate Warrior like actually did try to escape through the door of the cage, but Bobby Heenan ended up slamming the door on Warrior's head, preventing him from escaping. Then eventually Ultimate Warrior brought Bobby Heenan into the cage and then ended up taking him out. How threw him like into the cage a couple of times, then threw him out with an atomic drop. Then eventually Ultimate Warrior then hit a few clotheslines on Rick Rude, and then hit him with the Gorilla Press. Then eventually Ultimate Warrior was able to climb over the cage and down to the floor and get the win. So Ultimate Warrior ended up retaining the WWF Championship. Like I said, this match it was really lopsided and just not really anything memorable about it. Like it just really was like not that great, especially compared to the match that they had at SummerSlam the previous year for the Intercontinental title. Like I said, if I just really don't see like why they actually had Rick Rude challenge in the main event for the WWF Championship. I just really don't understand that. So not a horrible match, but just very lopsided and just not really anything that great at all. So for that match, I don't know. I guess I'll give that match like man, I guess I'll give that match just like 3 stars. I guess I'll just go with that. All right. So overall with the show, oh man, I guess I'll give it like I guess I'll give the show a 6 out of 10. I mean, like I said, it really is just all over the place with the show. Like, you did have, like, some good stuff on the show, such as, like, the tag title match, and Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake was enjoyable as well. The problem with the show really is just that it just had, like, too much filler on the show, and the matches were just very short, and, like, several of these matches really you could have cut to really, like, give more time to the bigger matches on the show and just, like, have and better matches on the show in general, rather than like the stuff that we got, where with like the Orient Express versus Nikolai, Volkoff, and Duggan, and Tito Santana versus Warlord, and just all this other filler on the show, and Bad News Brown versus versus a Jake Roberts. So I just really don't. Like I said, this just really seemed to be like WWF really didn't really know what to do at this time, and that really is why like this show really just has like a whole bunch of filler on here. Like I said, I just really don't know what to say really in terms of recommending it, because it really is just all over the place. It does have some good stuff, but I don't know if it really is enough to actually recommend the show. So I just really don't know what else to really say about it. But if you have to check out something from the show, check out the tag title match. All right. So I guess this is all I can really say about it. All right. So this is from my review of Survivor Series 1990. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review, and I may make another retro SummerSlam review tomorrow. So stay tuned to see if I do that tomorrow. All right, but I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.